Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today on this eye-opening subject on how to treat food allergies according to Ayurveda. And so many people have food allergies and, can't have bread, can't have dairy, so many things we can't eat. And today you're going to learn how you can eat these foods and join the rest of the human population and eat bread and have some of these foods that you thought you never could digest. My name's Kkabir Southwick, Ayurvedic doctor and Ayurvedic pharmacist, making my own products. Been in practice 27 years, providing Zoom appointments worldwide. And also, I'm the founder of herbmanteas.com, where all of the products I mentioned today are available. So, if we look at our digestive system first, we're going to look at it from Ayurvedic perspective because Ayurveda says very clearly that most health problems are due to digestive, let's just say, imbalances. And of course, in Ayurveda, it's much more sophisticated. Most people in the West just think, hey, take some probiotics, take some enzymes, they're going to fix their digestive problem. Well, digestive enzymes don't fix anything. You're putting something in your body to help that your pancreas is supposed to be making, even when you take stomach acids, hydrochloric acid, you're just doing something your stomach's supposed to do. So you're really not fixing anything. You're compensating. So let's just set aside, things like hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes, because those aren't treating your digestion. They're just compensating. Just like if your hormonal system's not working and you just take hormone replacement, you didn't fix your reproductive system. You just took some hormones instead. It's like a replacement therapy. So that's a misbelief that digestive enzymes will help. And of course, now people, they were very popular in the 70s. And now, of course, by the 80s or 90s, people learned that digestive enzymes just created dependence, which means you had to have every meal with your digestive enzyme because apparently your pancreas just stopped working and making the enzymes when you were taking them all the time. So just forget the digestive enzymes. Let's get rid of some of these myths here. And, just having apple cider vinegar, it can work. It creates more stomach acids, but it doesn't work for everybody, particularly if that's not your problem, stomach acid. So, and then people got all kinds of crazy things they think help their digestion, like charcoal, which has nothing to do with your digestion. In fact, it's good for food poisoning, but it's not good for your digestion. And what else do people try? I mean, they take their probiotics, but unless you've had antibiotics in the last year or so, and you're eating some kind of, only junk food with no no healthy bacteria in it, you probably have enough bacteria in you. I mean, nobody really is going to be deficient if you haven't had antibiotics. I mean, so much foods, pickles, yogurt, even food that's left on the counter a little long, it all has bacteria in it. I mean, bacteria is everywhere, particularly with fermented foods. So if you've just had any in your life, they're growing inside you, and you don't need to replenish them every day with more kombucha, or expensive drinks, because they're not a vitamin. They don't disappear. They're growing inside you. Now, if you've had a big old streak of antibiotics for a while, some of these really strong antibiotics, then it can wipe out all your intestinal flora, and you can get diarrhea, and some people even get constipation depending on the antibiotic, and then you have no choice but to take the probiotic. But until there were antibiotics, there was never any need for probiotics. It's only a modern compensation for the medication of antibiotics. So you're really not fixing anything by taking a probiotic, because you should have these anyway. I never take probiotics because I've never had antibiotics. And anytime I take a probiotic, I don't feel anything. So that means you don't need it. Uh, so let's just forget the probiotics. Not to say they can't help with some people, particularly if you've had the antibiotics. And it could take months to replenish these antibiotics, particularly if you've had surgery and you've had replenish the healthy bacteria. Particularly if you've had like surgery where they've had to give you strong antibiotics, and they've wiped out all of your healthy bacteria. So that's not really a treatment. So what is good digestion? That's very important. Well, good digestion is one, and people don't really even realize this. One is having a good appetite. So if you don't even have a good appetite, that's already the first sign of poor digestion. That's right. I mean, you're not hungry, you're not healthy. This is an old saying. A healthy man is the horny man. Well, I think direct translation from Latin was, well, he's good at having children. But we make it a little more interesting but the point is, that is a sign of health to be hungry. If you have pets, the morning they're hungry. If they're just lying around and not eating till 4 o'clock, you probably have a sick or dying pet on your hand. But a lot of people aren't hungry till 4 o'clock, and they don't realize that that's the first poor sign. That's the first sign of bad diet. Poor, let's just say poor or weak digestion. In fact, in Ayurveda, they have a term for it because Ayurveda is more sophisticated in digestion. There's really no terminology or category for all these digestive problems, even in Western medicine. They're just really poor at dealing with digestive issues. But Ayurveda, it's their strength, and they have special names. So this not being hungry, heavy film on the tongue, no appetite, they call it manda agni. Agni means your digestive fire. I'm hungry. And manda means dull. So you've got no fire, baby. You got no hunger. And, in Ayurveda, they also say you got no hungry. They got no hunger. You also have no libido. So that's, I think, where the old saying comes, the hungry man is the horny man. So, in the ancient days, they'd invite the man over, the potential groom over to the bride's house, and they'd give him a big meal, and they'd kind of watch him eat. I'm thinking, man, look at that guy eat the duck, honey. He's going to be a lover. But if he just picks at his food and complains, they're not interested, because that means he's doesn't have a good appetite. It's not healthy. Doesn't have a good libido. So it is very important to have this. And I'll explain why people don't have it. But that's the first sign of poor digestion. And so many people are gaining weight. They go, well, I'm not eating much. I'm exercising. I go to the gym. And they're telling me how much they go to, how many reps or something they do in the gym. And I just say, are you hungry in the morning? No. That's why you're gaining weight. And it's a very funny thing because you're not hungry and then you eat anyway. That's like the major weight gainer of all. It doesn't even matter how good the food is. You weren't hungry. Your body wasn't able to digest it. You didn't have any appetite and you ate anyway. That's like cooking the bread when the oven's not even hot. The bread isn't going to be cooked. It's going to be gooey mess and clog you up and ultimately make you tired, sluggish, and gain weight, increasing the kapha dosha. So eating not hungry, you can't digest. The oven's not on. The oven's not ready. You got to feel the appetite. And why do most people are not hungry? Well, as again, it always keeps we're going down a rabbit hole here of digestion. And I've spoke many times on many types of digestive problems: gas, bloating, constipation, acidity, heartburn, even excess appetite, lack of appetite. But the main reason why people are not hungry is snacking. Snacking on what? What Westerners, or at least North Americans, love to snack on that they think is healthy, that's messing up their digestion more than anything. You got it. Nuts. I think about 8 out of 10 of my clients from North America, because I have clients in Europe too, they're all snacking on nuts, protein bars, cookies, crackers, chips. Not only will it ruin your digestion, which ultimately will ruin your health in other ways. You'll have other health issues, cascading health issues based on your doshic imbalance. But a lot of times these dry foods like nuts and crackers will constipate you. And when you're constipated, that also can take away your digestion. So when people say, I'm not hungry, I go, okay, how many bowel movements you have? Oh, I don't, like some days I skip a day. Well, that's why. And even people don't even know what healthy bowel movements are. And of course, I've spoke on this many times, but the number of bowel movements you have per day should be equal to the number of meals. So if you're eating 3 meals a day, you should be pooping 3 times a day. If you're eating twice a day, you should be pooping twice a day. And people are, oh, really? You can go to a doctor a medical doctor and to be not pooping every 3 days, and they don't even, like, talk about it. But that's gonna create a new cascade of health problems, including toxic accumulation in your joints and causing arthritis, but that's another story. But you can see how poor digestion starts leading even to your arthritis, inflammation, autoimmune issues, weight gain, and some people even weight loss, depending on who you are. So, first, gotta have a good appetite. Other important things about digestion is no gas, no bloating. That's very important. And of course, the bowels have to be moving a few times a day. So if you came to me with a food allergy, I can't have bread, I can't eat wheat, I can't have, I hear it literally every day. Somebody's saying they can't eat a piece of bread. You know, when I used to speak publicly when I was traveling the world before the pre-COVID days. I used to always say, "Who can't eat bread?" Half the audience would raise their hands, and I go, "Who can't have dairy?" And then I'd say, "Keep your hand up for the first bunch." So I'd keep asking these things, and then like 70-80% of the audience has their hands up that they can't eat bread, dairy, or certain. Those are the two big ones that people believe they can't eat. But once, and I get it every day with my patients, they just can't, they just believe they can't eat certain foods. When the problem is, which is the point I'm making here, it's your digestion. It's not that you are allergic to it. 9 out of 10 people are not allergic. Now, there are allergic reactions. We're going to talk about those, but those are more like itchy, hives breaking out, swelling. Say you eat some food and your whole mouth swells up and you can hardly breathe because you're that's a food allergy. That's a true food allergy. Most people, they're not having food allergies. They just believe they can't have a piece of bread, and then they go gluten-free for absolutely no reason, and then they can't believe they can't have any dairy. They always say, I can't have dairy. And then I say, oh, but you can't have butter? Oh, and they go, oh, no, I can have butter. Oh, you can't have a little yogurt with your food? Oh, no, I can have yogurt. So you're having dairy. What you're really trying to say is you can't drink milk. But then people stop. They think when they can't have milk, which is hard to digest when it's been pasteurized, where all the healthy bacteria has been destroyed in the pasteurization, and it's been homogenized, which it's been, not just heated up, but like the molecules have been changed by homogenization, and then it becomes hard to digest. So first of all, they're having something that's hard to digest, pasteurized, homogenized milk. Second, and then they just think, oh, I can't have any dairy. So we get that all the time. And in fact, they can. But 9 out of 10, when people say they can't eat things, and they'll tell me all kinds of foods, it's just your digestion, 9 out of 10. That's why I'm focusing here on digestion. Okay, wait, you don't want any gas. You don't want any bloating. Now, your body, that's your way for your body to communicate with you. So every time you eat that raw kale salad and you get all gassy and bloating, your body doesn't have a mouth. It can't speak. So what it does is it bloats and farts. And that's telling you, I can't eat it. So there is another category. It's called the foods that are incompatible with you according to your Ayurvedic body type, we could say, or dosha, or your prakriti. So in Ayurveda, if you're a Vata person, we know the foods you can't digest. It's like this is your just digestive system just not capable of digesting these foods. That's it. Now, you may think it's a food allergy. Even a doctor may think it's a food allergy, but it's not. It's just incompatible food. So we're breaking it down what most people think food allergies are. One, it's usually, they have bad eating habits. They're constipated, snacking all the time. That will just make their digestion bad. There's plenty more bad eating habits that wreck your digestion, mixing fruit with the meal and things like that. Fruit and yogurt is a really bad digestive thing. I've had many people, and smoothies, I've done a whole podcast on smoothies. Find that if you're still, under the belief your smoothies are healthy. But a lot of people did the old face palm on the second appointment. And I go, why'd you do the face palm? And they go, well, when I stopped the smoothie, my gas and bloating went away. And it's like a 22-year-old girl or something, 20-year-old something person. So they didn't really have any other health issues. They only had the gas and bloating. And the main reason they had it was their smoothie, snacking on nuts. And once you remove that, all their gas and bloating went away. And the reason they did the hand palm, because they realized they spent the money paying me the big bucks to tell them the smoothie doesn't work. It's cold, bad food combining. It's a digestive disaster. Just having a lot of cold foods will wreck your digestion, but particularly these smoothies where you throw in all these things all together just clogs you right up. So these are the common things that people are doing that are wrecking their own digestion. 9 out of 10 people are just wrecking their own digestion with their bad eating habits, eating when they're not hungry, snacking on nuts, crackers, chips, mixing fruit with meals when they shouldn't have fruit with it, bad food combining, doing smoothies, these type of things. And then once you just go back to just eating normally 3 meals a day and don't snack except on maybe a little fruit, and, even maybe have, then your digestion gets better. But let me go back to the point about eating for your body type. That's another knowledge you have to have, because if you're a Vata person, Vata dominant person, it could be Vata Pitta, maybe even Vata Kapha, but you're Vata dominant, which is a thin, light, dry person who gets a lot of gas and bloating and is easy to get constipated, basically. But they're usually thin and they're usually cold, and they don't gain weight easy. That's the pure Vata. Now, if you're Vata Kapha, maybe you're going to gain weight faster. If you're Vata Pitta, maybe you're going to have a little bit stronger appetite. But if we just simplify this conversation, we talk about the Vata person, they should not have raw vegetables, particularly the cabbage family. So many people who are Vata body type, of course, most people don't even know their own make and model. It's like driving a car around for 20, 30, 40 years, and you don't even know what model it is. That's my viewpoint. I tell them, your model is Vata. You're Vata. You can go online. You can look up Vata menus, Vata ideas, and you can go to Chat GDP and you can type Vata meal plan, and you can get your meal plan right there. I mean, it's thousands of years old information, and it will tell you what foods your body just can't digest. And once you know that, you just get rid of those foods, and suddenly your whole digestive problems went away. And some of the things that you thought were an allergy were just foods that I could have told your mother not to feed you the day you were born. Because when you were born, I could have looked at your mom and said, yeah, this is a Vata. Don't give her salads. Don't give her kale. Don't give her raw vegetables. Don't give her smoothies. Don't give her cold foods. And make sure she let her go crazy and go vegan, because Vata can't do those. That they need the protein. It's another subject, but they need soft, warm, cooked foods. No dry foods, no cold foods. And then there's Pitta dosha, more like me, a little bit hot-tempered, a little fiery, a little red, and we get acid reflux. Easy, another health issue, or digestive issue, I should say. And so we can't do apple cider vinegar. So many people online that think apple cider vinegar is a cure-all. Well, if I have apple cider vinegar, I just get heartburn and I get too hungry and they get hangry. I'm a little hangry right now. But, hangry fires me up. I do a good presentation. So, for Pitta type of people, they say no hot spices, no tomatoes, no sour things, no pickles. And those things don't agree with me. And when I'm talking to a person who's Pitta, it doesn't agree with them either, but they're doing it because they think they should, just like the Vata person thought. But I thought salads were healthy. I thought kale was healthy. It doesn't matter what you think. Your body can't digest it. Just stop eating it and you'll see the difference. Same for Pitta. Same for Kapha. Kapha is heavy, dense, slow, easy to gain weight, and they can't eat heavy, dense foods like meat, pasta, pizza, and even bread. So that's, of course, the category of person that shouldn't be having bread, but not all grains. Don't go crazy and follow the YouTube fad stuff and not stop all of your grains. Oh, my God. There's other grains. You can do millet, you can do buckwheat. There's other grains. We all think that all grains are just wheat, but there's many other grains that you can have instead, because you should never leave out a whole food category, which so many people do. They're kind of extreme diets. It used to be the old extreme vegan diet I was dealing with and all of its nutritional deficiency issues. Now I'm dealing with another extreme, the other direction, the keto diet, a total fad diet. In fact, I shouldn't complain about a keto diet because I'm making tens of thousands of dollars from it, because every week I get a couple people on the keto diet. Just this week with somebody who had gout. Why? Keto diet, too much animal protein, too much fat. I get kidney failure, keto diet. I get gallbladders. Had another person the other day, wasn't quite doing keto. He wasn't following it strictly, but gallbladder, fatty liver. So you're going to have a lot of health problems from the keto diet after a while. Just takes a little while, about a year or two. But I digress. Back to digestion. And some people just can't eat this much animal protein. So just to go out and tell everybody you should eat keto is just really, what's the right word? Amateur, of course. That's a nice word. So I could think of worse words. But unprofessional. It's just not realistic because everybody's different. I mean, there's some people that could have the digestion to eat that much meat and animal protein and fat every day, and some people that just their whole body couldn't digest it no matter what. It was the same problem we had with the vegan diet, 10, 15 years ago when it was so popular. Everybody was doing it, and some people do fine because they have the digestive capacity to eat a lot of raw vegetables, like the pitta type. And kapha type can lose weight on it if they have the digestive capacity. But those little thin vatas, they can't even digest all those raw vegetables. And so their body just can't do it. Everybody has a different digestive system. So let me review here real quickly. First, you got to follow the digestive rules that Hippocrates, Chinese medicine, and Ayurveda have been talking about for thousands of years, which apparently nobody seems to know in the West. Not eat when you're not never eat when you're not hungry. Don't snack on nuts, crackers, and chips. Don't eat too late. There's certain food combining rules. That's number one. Number two, listen to your body. If you're gassy, bloated, or acidity, get acid for something. Listen to your body and don't eat that food. And then, of course, try to eat what's according to your body type or dosha. That will solve probably 70, 80% of your problems right there. And most people like the foods I tell them to eat. They just think the other foods are good. So they do them anyway. Or they're eliminating things because they think that it's not good, but they're not really listening to their body. Sometimes with people, they're not doing any bread. And I go, why? Do you get gas and bloating or constipation or a rash or hives from it? That would be like a food allergy if you got hives or rashes or itchy or swollen throat. And they go, no. Do you get any gas and bloating? No. So why'd you stop it? Well, I heard that it was bad, but you're not having any problems digesting it. Now, of course, wheat is weight gaining, but you're not an overweight person. You're a thin person. So what's the problem? So, people just read this information from all these amateurs on YouTube telling everybody to eat the same thing. And then they're doing it because they hear it and they believe it, but they're not listening to their bodies. You got to listen to your body. Your body's trying to tell you what works and doesn't work. So, okay, listen to your body, follow the ancient rules of digestion. And then understand your body type. Do those three things, and 90% of your food allergies will be gone. Now, the last category left is the food allergy. And the food allergy, you're going to have an allergic response, hives, itchy, swelling, particularly if your whole throat swells up and you can't breathe. That's a food allergy. But itchy. It's the most, and hives. I mean, some people that eat a food and their whole back just becomes like red and itchy. That's a food allergy. So, you got to be able to make a distinction between the two. So let me talk about, let me show you a few ways you can improve your digestion. I'm going to show you a product I also have called Food Allergy Formula. And this will resolve it. So even if you do have a food allergy, first, I would change all your digestive habits, get rid of foods that are not compatible with you, fix your eating habits, and then I can just give you a formula called Food Allergy Formula. And then, boom, your allergies are gone. And then you can give me a testimonial. So let's take a look here. Now, of course, people are contacting me and my staff all the time and saying, what can I take for my digestion? But if you go to herbmanteas.com and you go to the category digestion, look at all the products we have. There's so many for all different types of digestion. So if you text us or call us, we don't know what you're talking about. Because, well, we don't know what your digestive problem is. Because when people say, oh, I have poor digestion, that doesn't mean anything to a professional. It's just like calling a car mechanic and saying, my car doesn't run. How do you fix it? Well, he doesn't know what's the problem. So, and I just broke down some of the common problems: gas, bloating, constipation, acid reflux, heartburn, even abdominal pain. And if we look here at the testimonials, we got just hundreds of testimonials. thanking me for fixing their digestion after they couldn't eat foods for years. And if you get into these, many of these people even had IBS and had pain and all kinds of problems that went on for years, sometimes decades. Um, and this is a very good one here. I was able to stop taking the herbs as my digestive system began to regulate on its own. See, that's another good point. You don't have to take the herbs forever. They're saying that, they had strong symptoms related to digestion, such as bloating, poor appetite, constipation, even back pain. So I just gave them what she calls simple dietary changes because I knew her problem. So I didn't have to educate her about digestion. I just told her. And then I gave her some works, which she said quickly worked. Yeah, they worked the same day. Most of your digestive problems will be gone in a week if you change your diet and take the right herbs after the meal. And this is what happened to her. And what I really like about this comment is after 1 month, she was able to stop taking the herbs and her digestive system be regulated on its own. But she had to follow the diet, not YouTube. And you can go on. I haven't had any problems with my digestive system. He helped heal my gut. A lot of people had IBS for a long time, pain, abdominal pain. This person says they began to incorporate the specific dosha diets, diet plans, herbal remedies, and experience immediate results. And if you get into these, some of these people said, I didn't think I could have wheat my whole life. Some people said they were even diagnosed with celiac and they're just gone. Wasn't there. Some people thought they had lactose intolerant, gluten intolerance, and they found out they don't. It's gone. It was all based on their poor digestion, which was based on their poor eating habits. Healthier than years. Who he cares about results. Digestive tea and diet resolved digestive issues I never thought were possible. See that's what I'm getting every single day. So people come to me, of course, with high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, kidney failure, and all kinds of serious health problems. But they all have digestive problems. And sometimes most people just resign to their digestive problems, saying, I just can't have dairy. I'm gluten intolerant. I'm lactose intolerant. They just got this stuck in their head and they don't really want me to fix it. They just want me to get rid of their blood pressure because they don't want to take the medicine or something. And I say, it's all connected. I have to treat you holistically. I treat their digestion and their blood pressure. And they usually send me the testimonial for the digestion because the results are quick and it takes time to get your cardiovascular system in place. Improved digestion, feel so much better, no longer bloated, face difficulties digesting, poor appetite, indigestion, nausea, burning, acidity, all gone, just gone, over. Okay, that just goes on and on. I mean, there's hundreds of them. But let's take a look at some of the the types of digestive issues. I'm showing you this one first because just abdominal pain is usually inflammation in the colon. So we have specific formulas for that. It's kind of a separate subject. But people say, "Oh, I have abdominal pain. What are you going to do?" Well, I send you the abdominal pain formula. Simple, but it usually means inflammation in the colon. This is soothing the stomach. So, that's stomach ulcer, burning pain, heartburn, and this is. But nobody really needs this forever. They're usually causing it. But initially, I have to give this to them just to get rid of the pain. But here's acid belly. This is heartburn. That's one type of digestive problem. You got to change your diet. Can't do the sour things. Can't do the pickles. Can't do the spicy food. And then this tea helps a lot. I'm just showing you different ones. And then, of course, candida. You get candida. You're not born with candida. It's not a disease. You didn't get it from kissing somebody. You got it from poor food combining. So many people get candida from the smoothies. Smoothies is a candida maker. Nobody was talking about candida 10, 15 years ago. Nobody was doing smoothies 20 years ago. So the smoothie craze created the candida because it has all the qualities that create bacteria. It's cold, it's dense, it's mixing fruit with grains, and they're throwing all kinds of stuff in there, and it's heavy. And then they're having it often when they're not hungry. And then they get candida, which is very easy to treat, but you have to change the diet. You don't need to do one of these candida fasts and starve yourself out. Just take the tea. It's easier. But I'm trying to get to some good ones here. Now, this is a good product. That's one I want to show you. because you can make this on your own. This is probably the most popular digestive tea. Now, it's mostly for the Vata type. Its original name was Vata digestive tea, but to sell it on the open market and Amazon, eBay, we changed the name to Belly Ease. But it's just for gas, bloating, and weak digestion. Remember that Vata type has a weak digestion. And what are the important herbs here? They're the carminative herbs: cumin, ginger, fennel, and ajwain. Most people don't know ajwain, but it is the secret ingredient, and it really makes a difference. It's kind of backed with a little peppermint, little lemon balm, both from the mint family, a little cinnamon. But on your own, you could just do, if you're Vata type, you have to be cold. You can't be hot. You can't get acidity. This is probably a little too peppery for people like me. Um, and you're getting gas and bloating. You can sip this with meals. But you can make your own and just use like ginger, cumin, fennel. That's all you really need. Ginger, cumin, fennel. Those three. Okay. And that would be great. A lot of times I just tell people have ginger tea. Like if they're having gas and bloating and weak digestion, they're not hungry, I give them just sip ginger tea with the meal. Sip it with the meal. And then, of course, cook hot, warm foods with spices as well, because the spice helps your digestion. A lot of people are having bland food with no spice, and spice helps you digest. That's why spices have been so valuable for centuries, because they help your digestion. And if your digestion is better, your health gets better. Don't forget the libido. Okay, and then now this one is another good one I'll show you. It's Ayurvedic, but see, it's tridoshic. This, if you were just to call me and say, hey, send me something for my digestion, and you don't give me any clues, I could give you this one because it says tridoshic. Means good for everybody. Vata, Pitta, Kapha, but mostly good for the Vata and the Kapha. It's a little spicy for some people. But if we look at the herbs, we can see the basis of it is the ginger, the cumin, the fennel, and the black pepper. That's the basis of it. So it's just kind of like the tea, using these carminative herbs: ginger, cumin, and fennel. This one just has a little bit of black pepper in it. But it's also balanced. This is an Ayurvedic formula, very traditional Ayurvedic formula, been around, and it's using triphala as well. That's the amlaki, haritaki, pippataki. So it's kind of like half triphala, amlaki, haritaki, pippataki, which really helps with the bowels a little bit and gets things kind of moving, but in a very gentle way. So it does help a little bit with elimination as well. And then, of course, it's got the ginger, cumin, fennel, and black pepper. Tastes good, feels good, helps immediately, and very, very effective. So we just call it digestive formula. Unfortunately, people don't really understand how valuable it is. It's not a big seller, but it should be. I use it a lot in private practice. And now we look at other types of digestive states. Like I use this one, sweet digestive tea, because I can't do the ginger. I'm Pitta type. And this used to be called Pitta digestive tea. And it also helps with gas and bloating without warm spices to avoid acidity, heartburn, or GERD. See, so that's me. I don't really get gas and bloating, but I can feel heavy and a little bloated sometimes. And I use this one, sweet digestive tea, and no ginger. It's got spearmint, fennel, cumin, coriander, cinnamon, and cardamom. Delicious, very, very tasty, very good, almost very sweet, feels good. You can give this to a child, particularly. They'll like it because it's sweet and bloated. I could mix this with baby milk and give it to a baby with colic. It's much more gentle and sweet than even the other one. They're all different. Now this one is the best one for gas and bloating. Now, if you call and you're my patient and you say, I'm getting gas, bloating all the time, and you're definitely Vata, because this one has salt in it. And salt's not good for Pitta. It's hot and heating and creates itching and hives. If you're a Pitta type of person, and if you're a Kapha, it can create swelling. So you can't do salty things for the Pitta and the Kapha. But Vata people, particularly if they like salty, I usually ask them, do you like salty? Oh, I love salty. So that's good. I sent them this one. It is very effective. And it's got herbs. A chikrat mul, which is really the premier herb in Ayurveda for digestion. Mul means root. It's a kind of a warming root, a little bit similar to ginger. Dashamula, which is 10 herbs, which balances Vata. And it's also roots. Mula means herbs, 10 roots. So this is a Vata formula. Pittas and Kapha shouldn't take it. There's your ginger, cumin, pepper again. See, these are the main ones. Particularly cumin is the best for the bloating. And then it's got some salt, and which also helps with bloating and even constipation. And hing. Hing is called asfahita. They put it in beans to make you not gas and bloat, but it's a little peppery. They're very, very effective. And that's how I get those immediate testimonials that say, instantly I changed my diet, started taking this after meals. This is post-digestive. You take it after meals. Gone. All the digestive things gone in days. Well, let's look at a few more. Now, this one is for the pitta. There's a couple for pitta. There's even, this is for somebody who has a lot of body heat, burning sensation. So if you're a person who's got body heat and burning sensation, all the ones I brought up till now, except for sweet digest, would only make it worse. So if you pick the wrong product, you don't know what you're doing. A lot of times people have burning sensation, heat, acidity, and they're trying apple cider vinegar. Well, that makes it worse. They're trying ginger tea. Well, that makes it worse. So you need a cooling formula. That's what pitta balancing means. Pitta means fire. Balance means you're bringing down the heat. This is for a person who has loose stools, burning sensation, heat, acidity. Now, if you're that person, you're looking at this formula and you're thinking, wow, that's me perfectly. Now, it's an advanced formula. Kamaduta Ras is 8 herbs. Pravalpishti is made from coral. Shatavari is very sweet and cooling. Shankbhasma is also made from seashells. So it's kind of bringing down the acidity. Guduchi Sattva is, the essence juice of the herb guduchi. It's very cooling, and there's fennel and some other basma. This is a very advanced, sophisticated formula, but very effective. And see no ginger, not even cumin in here. Even cumin can be too strong for this, but immediately the person notices no more burning, no more pain, no more loose stools, no more excessive sweating. All these pitta issues are gone. And there's other formulas for pitta too. Here's another one that people think when they're really like, I can't eat anything. I get people say, I can't eat anything. They're having food sensitivity, allergic reactions to everything. So this usually means they're inflamed. There's inflammation going on. And of course, they all have the bad eating habits, there's usually that's underlining cause. But this is like a super sensitive person. And I have a pitta version and a vata version too. But so this is like my backup when people say, well, I want to do your diet, but I can't eat anything. Everything bothers me. I only can eat this. They're just like limited themselves to a little bit. And usually the person is losing weight. Now, Dashamul, you saw that earlier, 10 herbs. It's just balancing vata. Guduchi is an anti-inflammatory. Fennel is sweet. Little turmeric, of course, your turmeric is not that hot as ginger, but it's very similar. It's the same family. It's not that anti-inflammatory like people think. But in Ayurveda, we don't use turmeric for inflammation. We use it for its antihistamine qualities. So that's why I'm using it here as an antihistamine to help with the allergic response. And Guduchi is also anti-inflammatory immune modulator. And then curcumin is the extract of turmeric, and that is anti-inflammatory. Not traditional in Ayurveda, but we just put a little bit, and that gives it this anti-inflammatory. This is also, people who think they can't eat anything, this is what I give them. But I have to change the diet. They can't be doing the smoothies. They have to do the vata diet, which is the cause. Now, here we have one, gentle digestive tea. This is also for the person with the leaky gut, the GERD, the IBS, everything is bothering them, pain. So this is very mild, cumin, coriander, fennel, little dandelion. So it's very mild. We call it gentle. You could give it to babies. It's very mild. For the hypersensitive type, it can go with that other formula. Now, finally, what you've all been waiting for, the food allergy formula. So if a person really having a true allergy, okay, there's a traditional formula in Ayurveda called Harida Kand, and Harida means turmeric. And that's why I say Ayurveda uses turmeric for allergies, not for inflammation. So this one helps when you get swelling, hives, and itchy skin due to foods like wheat, nuts, and dairy. So here, for those rare people that really do have an allergy, then I give them this. Harida means turmeric. Trivet, and then Haritaki is, warming fruit that's used in Triphala. Dado haldi is kind of for us also antihistamine. Ajwan's for digestion. Chikrat mul, the premier herb for digestion, and then a little bit of this curcumin extract for the inflammation. But up to the turmeric, this formula together is actually called Harida Kand. Harida means turmeric. So it's the only formula in Ayurveda based on turmeric. This formula called Harida Kand. Harida is turmeric. So it's turmeric plus some other herbs, and those are the other herbs. I just put in a little bit of curcumin to help with the inflammation. But this is very effective, particularly, and you take it after meals, particularly if a person um, is having these true allergic symptoms like swelling, hives, and itchy. So I hope that helped you understand that food allergies are not something you're born with the rest of your life. You have to change your eating habits, change your diets, and then maybe take some herbs for a little while to kind of re-regulate your body. And then once you've figured out the foods you can eat and the foods you shouldn't be eating, then you're good to go. You create the problems by eating foods you're not supposed to be eating for your type. This is causing all the health problems. And then of course, when you have poor digestion, gas, bloating, constipation, even acidity, you're creating metabolic toxins or ama. So when you don't digest well, you're creating toxins. It's kind of like the car engine. When it doesn't run good, it creates a lot of soot. It starts clogging up the valves and the exhaust system, and it's black soots, black smokes coming out the back. That's what happens when you're having poor digestion. This soot in a car clogs it up, and when you don't digest well, you're making this toxins, this ama, and this toxin then gets into your blood, circulates all over the place, gives you headaches, cramping, joint pain, and leads to certain types of arthritis, can lead to autoimmune conditions and all types of problems just from your poor digestion. And your poor digestion came from all your bad eating habits and eating the wrong foods for your type. I always like to give the example. I mean, I always buy the best dog food for my dog, but that's not suitable for cats. Cat is more carnivore, and dog, he's more a little bit herbivore. He can eat about anything. He'll eat fruits, vegetables a little bit. So the dog food accommodates for that, and the cat, he can't eat those. So even you have the right foods that you think are healthy, if they're not compatible for you, they're going to cause you digestive problems, and the digestive problems will lead to a cascade of health problems, which is why I get most of my clients, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, even probably 60s and 70s, because it's taken decades for these health problems to develop into serious health problems. They may have the gas and bloating and constipation or heartburn or even abdominal pain or food sensitivity for 20, 30, 40 years. And now they've got all these other problems like an autoimmune condition, a headache that doesn't go away, arthritis go away. And they got it from the decades of poor digestion. So I have to go back still, even if a person's coming to me with, inflammatory arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or lupus, or some other serious condition, even high blood pressure and definitely diabetes. I have to go back and still put them on the correct diet so they don't create these problems. And I still have to teach them how to eat right, which the ancients all knew about, but seems like we missed that on the line. I don't know what happened, but, everybody else is ancient world know not to snack on nuts and not to combine certain foods together. Hippocrates talked a lot about it. The Greeks knew, the Romans knew, the Indians knew, and the Chinese knew. But we're following YouTube, getting confused, and doing smoothies, wrecking our digestion. And then we live with it. We think, oh, well, I just can't digest these foods. Or they try to take the digestive enzymes and do foolish things online without anybody diagnosing what is the cause. You just can't go online and follow advice, even my advice, because somebody has to diagnose what you're doing that caused the problem that made you believe you couldn't eat the food. And it's you don't know what you don't know. But when you do an appointment with me, which I'm available 7 days a week, sometimes on Zoom, I'll tell you what foods you can digest, what foods you can't digest, and, even how to prepare the food. Like some people, I say, don't have apples, have applesauce. And they go, oh, yeah, I hate apples, but I love applesauce. See, it's not even just the food sometimes. It's the way you prepare it. Ayurveda is very sophisticated. Even some foods you can't have late at night, some foods you can't have when the sun goes down. It's a very detailed system. But when you do an appointment, then I tell you once and for all, give you a food list and tell you that's what you should be eating the rest of your life. And most of your health problems will slowly get better, and your digestive issues will be gone in a week. And the herbs just make sure it happens quick. Very easy to teach for Ayurvedic doctor who has the herbs. I mean, you need the herbs, not just the knowledge, but you have to have the herbs to make a fast change for people because people are impatient. If I just change their diet, it could take months for them to recover, and it won't reverse some of the health issues that they have. But with the herbs, I can fix the diet like instantly the same day. I mean, they just start. I've had people that said I had heartburn like 3 or 4 times a week, and the day I left your office, I never had it again. Now he takes the herbs when he needs it because he knows when he feels it coming or when he ate the wrong food. Sometimes people, I tell them, okay, if you're not having digestive problems, only take the herbs when you know you're eating the wrong foods. And then they can take the herbs to compensate for the fact that they know they're not eating the right foods. But you first have to have the knowledge, am I eating the right foods for my body or not? Number one, essential. And, young children should learn this at an early age so they don't have to wait like my patients until they're 60 and say, God, I wish somebody taught me that when I was younger. And in fact, in Ayurveda, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to call the Ayurveda doctor when your baby's born, or at least when he stops nursing, and ask the doctor, hey, what's my child's body type? What should I feed him? And the doctor will tell you the day he's born just by looking at him. And then you know what to feed him, and then you can avoid all these problems. And of course, you have to study the digestive rules of eating, which are very, and food combining. Okay. Well, I hope that helped all of you. I hope I hear from some of you. I hope I helped some of you improve your digestion. I hope you overcame this thinking that you can't eat a piece of bread or can't ever have dairy because it's probably not the dairy's fault. It's definitely not the cow's fault. It's not the grain's fault, but sometimes it's the man's fault. Like the wheat's fine. People go to Europe, they're having wheat, and in the States, they can't eat it. So is it the wheat that's the problem or the way that we processed it and all the chemicals we sprayed all over it? And, and same with the milk. I mean, sometimes people can't have milk, but then they go and have raw milk, or they even do goat milk. And then they find, wow, I can have goat milk. And Ayurveda says Vata should never have cow milk. So, we know all of this. It's all factual to an Ayurvedic doctor. That's why it's so easy for us to treat, particularly when you do thousands of cases and everybody's got the same problem. It's just a day's job. All right. God bless you all. I wish you the best of health and happiness and good digestion.